It absolutely blows my mind that the Angels' best pitcher, their ace, Shohei Ohtani, also just won a Silver Slugger as a designated hitter. I don't think we're ever going to see that ever again. I mean, unless Shohei Ohtani does it again in 2022. Can he repeat that? I mean, I don't know if it's physically possible for him to do this in back-to-back seasons. Then again, maybe he can. What's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We talk baseball every single day, so if you like that sort of thing, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button because apparently 55% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribers. So hey, we're on the road to 400,000 subs before opening day. I don't know if we can do it, but that would be fun. So before we talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. as well as Juan Soto making some history, we have to talk about a brand new proposal from Major League Baseball. It has not been passed, it has not been agreed upon, but it could affect the payday for a lot of players around the league, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Ever since I can remember, the WAR stat has been a big time controversy, kind of 50% of fans on one side, 50% of fans on the other. One side is saying it's overrated, another side is saying, hey, it's not perfect, but it's getting better and better as the seasons progress. And Major League Baseball wants to start using F-WAR. So if you guys do not know, when you Google, let's say Bo Bichette, one of the first links that pops up is Baseball Reference, and their version of WAR is called R-WAR. Fangraphs, another website that Major League Baseball is really using a whole lot more often, that is referred to as F-WAR. So what Major League Baseball wants to do is they want to start comparing players using F-WAR and using that stat to try and predict how much a player should earn going forward. So for example, one of my favorite players of all time, actually my favorite player of all time, in 2006, Grady Sizemore had a 6.6 baseball reference WAR. That is really good. Sometimes people forget how good he was back in the day, but if we take a look at his Fangraphs, for the same year, Grady Sizemore in 2006 had a 7.9 F-WAR, one of the better seasons of his decade for outfielders. I mean, seriously, Grady Sizemore would have gotten $25 to $30 million a year back in the day based off a 7.9 F-WAR. Now, if we go more recent, let's take a look at two players that popped off in 2021, Bryce Harper and Marcus Semien. Bryce Harper on Baseball Reference, R-WAR, had a 5.9 R-WAR, okay? 5.9. If you take a look at his Fangraphs, he is sitting at 6.6. So instead of being beaten out by Juan Soto, because on Baseball Reference, Juan Soto far surpasses him. So if you just look at the numbers, you would think that Soto deserves MVP. But when you look at Fangraphs, the numbers are a whole lot closer. Harper has a 6.6 F-WAR compared to a 5.9. So Fangraphs says he's more valuable and is going to get paid more if Major League Baseball actually goes forward with this new proposal. Now, if we take a look at Marcus Semien, he is the exact opposite. On Baseball Reference, he had a 7.3 WAR, an insane season. If we take a look at his Fangraphs, he was tied with Bryce Harper with a 6.6 F-WAR. So him and Bryce Harper would be worth the exact same, even though if you just look at Baseball Reference, you would think that Marcus Semien was vastly more valuable than Bryce Harper. Here is the most extreme example that I can provide and the difference between Baseball Reference WAR and Fangraphs WAR, how a player could be making $20 million compared to $35 million. So back in 2018, Aaron Nola had a 5.4 F-WAR. So a 5.4 Fangraphs WAR compared to a 9.8, almost double of what Fangraphs had to say. That is more WAR in a single season than Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer. So apparently, according to Baseball Reference, back in 2018, Aaron Nola was literally Jesus Christ himself. But the difference between F-WAR and R-WAR in terms of pitchers is that F-WAR uses FIP, fielding independent pitching. So Baseball Reference WAR took into account that the 2018 Phillies had a negative 127 DRS. So because his defense behind him was so bad, they factored that in. So he was worth more on Baseball Reference, whereas F-WAR doesn't take into account defense. So he had a solid 5.4 WAR. So going forward, I really think the F-WAR is going to be the standard. And also, I'm not saying F-WAR is perfect because there are things that Baseball Reference does that Fangraphs can't account for or they choose not to account for. So let me know in the comment section down below. I know we kind of went on a tangent, but would you rather have F-WAR or Baseball Reference WAR going forward? And would you want your player's salary to be dictated by those numbers? Let me know. All right, let's move on to the Silver Sluggers from the 2021 campaign, shall we? For the starting pitcher, we have Max Fried, who walked away with a .322 on base percentage and the most base hits by any pitcher. For catchers, we have Salvador Perez. This is his 4th Silver Slugger, and then Buster Posey won his 5th. If you guys are wondering, Mike Piazza has the most. He won 10 in a row, and I just want to mention Salvador Perez is now a 7-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove winner, 4-time Silver Slugger, a World Series winner, and World Series MVP. He's a comeback player of the year, and he has the most home runs ever in a single season by a catcher with 48 this past season. So Salvador Perez, put some respect on his name. We might be looking at a future Hall of Famer. At first base, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Freddie Freeman. That is the 3rd for Mr. Freeman. At second base, we have Marcus Semien and Ozzie Albies. Ozzie now has 2. You have Austin Riley and Rafael Devers. So I want you guys to keep track of how many Braves we're talking about in today's video. Moving on over to the shortstop position, Xander Bogaerts now has 4 Silver Sluggers, and Fernando Tatis, he picks up his 2nd. Barry Larkin, just again for those who are curious, he has the most Silver Sluggers for a shortstop at 9. I think Tatis is going to rival that by the time that his career is all said and done. Teoscar Hernandez and Aaron Judge, they both win their 2nd, and Cedric Mullins wins his 1st after stopping switch hitting. So he went from a switch hitter to a full-time lefty and picks up his first 30-30 season, his 1st Silver Slugger award. And if we take a look at the National League, Juan Soto and Bryce Harper, they both now have 2, and Nick Castellanos, he picks up his 1st Silver Slugger award. And like we mentioned, Shohei Ohtani, the best pitcher for the Angels, also wins a Silver Slugger at DH. Now, I do want to let you guys know that Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mike Trout, they were the more recent guys that had 2 Silver Sluggers before turning 23 years old. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto now joined that elite company of players who were younger than 23 to have 2 Silver Sluggers in their career. I mean, it's just insane, the young talent that we have in Major League Baseball. And once Ronald Acuna Jr. gets back, he's healthy. We call it Bobby Witt Jr. and, in my opinion, Bryson Stott and Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green. Man, baseball is in great hands. And also, if you were keeping track, like I told you to, the Braves had 4 Silver Sluggers on one team. That is the 2nd most of all time. Now, to end today's video, I want to talk about 2 real quick things. I completely forgot that Robinson Cano even existed, and his 162-game suspension is officially over. The last time that we saw him, he was a machine. 10 home runs and a near 145 OPS plus in 49 games. That was back when he was 37 years old. He is now 39. He is owed $40.5 million over the next 2 years, but the Mariners, they'll be paying about $7.5 of that. So if you're a Mets fan, let me know. Do you want Robinson Cano to play 3rd base, 2nd base? Where do you think he's going to be playing? And also, the Tigers, apparently they're not messing around, and I'm here for it. Even as a Cleveland fan, I love Akil Baddoo. I like Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green. I hope the Tigers are better. They have reached out to Carlos Correa's agent, Corey Seager. You have Trevor Story, Javier Baez, and CT3 Chris Taylor. If I'm Detroit, I grab the cheapest of the first 3. It's probably going to be Trevor Story, the cheapest out of Carlos Correa and Corey Seager, and then I go grab Mark Canha, Garrett Richards, and Jake Diekman. So you bolster the bullpen with Diekman. You have Garrett Richards as a long relief guy or a number 4 or 5 starter. And Mark Canha, I think he's in the top 10 for on-base percentage over the last 4 or 5 years. So he would be perfect as a center fielder, at least in my opinion. Well, everyone, that is going to do it for today's MLB recap. If you were confused about the F War versus Baseball Reference War conversation, let me know in the comment section down below. I kind of want to make a video on it, and maybe I can get my boy Foolish Baseball to come in and educate us all on the difference between, Baseball Reference and Fangraphs, and see which one is better going forward, and maybe some other websites that we can use to better make a case why a player should be paid more or less. But thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there, and I appreciate all that you guys do. Have a good day.